Hello everyone and welcome to Corporate Governance and External Audit under Audit 689. But before that, let us know what is corporate governance according to Finance Committee on Corporate Governance 1999. It is a process and structure used to direct and manage business affairs of the company towards enhancing business prosperity and corporate accountability with the ultimate objective of realizing long-term shareholder values at the same time taking into account of the interests of other stakeholders. And now we look to basic principle of corporate governance. First one is keep the interests of stakeholders in mind. The stakeholders are important members of the corporation that don't hold any share. Stakeholders in the company must recognize in all areas. Secondly, identifying the roles of the board of directors. The board of directors are those that stand at the head of corporations with responsibility are diverse and it requires people needing both skills and knowledge to evaluate employee performance. Third one is transparency. It is a concept of disclosure. The idea that the corporation should always let it be known what responsibility and duty of those that work for the corporation as well as who is managed in order to keep stakeholders accountable. A company's corporate governance state the stage how it's run, for example, what the roles and duties of those who work in the company may be. Another vital basic principle of corporate governance is treating shareholders equally. It is by allowing and encouraging shareholders to participate in activity in the company. For example, meeting. A business not only respects shareholders and their right, but help the shareholders in exercising their right. Lastly, basic principle under corporate governance is ethical behavior. Ethics and integrity are also key principles of corporate governance. For example, integrity of anyone placed in corporate office or in the board should be have a high level of integrity. For example, follow code of conduct. Corporate governance setting up because it have its own importance. First one is accountability. It helps streamline the process and give people accountability where it helps in decision-making process. Therefore, people within the organization can understand what they are held accountable for. Secondly, lowering risk. It helps to mitigating or reduce the amount of risk that is involved, whether it can prevent, avoid scandal, fraud, and criminal liability of the company. Third one is public acceptance. It is a company with corporate governance is widely accepted by public due to the idea of disclosure and transparency. Fourth, public image. It helps to maintain company public image. The corporations take more responsibility of its action, whereby it's allowed to keep tabs on what's going on. Therefore, there is importance of corporate governance either from the accountability, lower risk, as public acceptance, and public image. And now we look to another body under corporate governance, which is Audit Committee. Audit Committee is required for all listed companies and those seeking listing on Bursa Malaysia. Secondly, all federal statutory bodies. And lastly, banks and financial institutions. And now we look into requirement setting up audit committee. First one, at least 3 members. Second, at least one with recent and relevant financial experience. And now we're looking at audit committee's role. First one, to assist board of director in discharging the duties relating to company or entity management and internal controls such as accounting policy and financial reporting and a line of communications. Besides that, it is monitor the integrity of the company's financial statements, such as make recommendations in relating to appointment and removal of external auditor. Second one, to oversee the financial reporting and the governance process so as to assist director in discharging their statutory duty and responsibility, monitor company activities, or even increase public confidence. There is benefit of audit committee. First one, lead to an increase of confidence in the credibility and objectivity of financial reports. Second, by specializing in the problems of financial reporting. Third one, conflict of interest. Audit committee provide an impartial for auditor to consult. Number 4, the external auditor will be able to report to the audit committee. Number 5, the external auditor have independent point of reference. And now we move to drawback of audit committee. Interference and executive decision on operational matters which will tend to undermine the authority of the board. Second, audit committees have no teeth. Audit committee are just window dressing to comply with some Malaysia listing requirement. Third, legal liability of audit committee members. Audit committee does not relieve the board of directors its responsibility for financial reporting process. Audit committee member may increase their exposure to possible additional liability because extra responsibility entrusted to them. The full board is distant from financial matter and external auditor, but they still has full responsibility on financial matter of the company. Additional drawback of audit committee. It is difficulty selecting sufficient non-executive director with the necessary competence of auditing. Next one is the establishment such a formalized reporting procedure may dissuade auditor from raising matter of judgment and limits them to reporting only matter of fact. Lastly, costs may be increased. There is a drawbacks of audit committee. And now we look at reporting level of audit committee. The committee shall be among directors of company and shall be appointed by the board. Should consist of not less than 3 members, with majority of non-executive directors or independent director. Audit committee can be chaired by an independent non-executive director. A member shall not have a family relationship with the executive director of the companies. At least one member of audit committee must be a member of MIA, or if not a member of MIA, he or she must have at least 3 years of working experience. Let's move more deeper on auditor. Roles of auditor should communicate audit matters of the governance interests arising the audit of financial statement with those charged with governance of an entity, determine the relevant person who charged with the governance and with whom audit matters of governance interests are communicated, communicate audit matter of governance interests on timely basis. This enables those charged with the governance to take appropriate actions. First one, assist in establish good internal controls and risk management policy by provide assurance of integrity and reliability of internal control and risk management system of clients. Measure to detect misstatement. Ensure awareness on and use relevant measure to detect misstatement in financial statement. Besides that, this enables those charged with governance to take appropriate actions, such as ensure independent performing the audits. Auditor should communicate matter of governance interest timely basis. 4. Ensure performance quality audit. As well as this enables those charged with governance to take appropriate action, adhere to auditing standards. Last but not least, it is reduce expectation gap through communications, educations, and professional development. Another vital component in corporate governance is director. Director must act in the best interest of the company, care and diligence in their function and dealing with the statutory duties. Besides that, director must act in the best interest of the company, honest and no conflict of interest. They must act in accordance with Articles of Memorandum, Companies Act, Securities Industry Act, and comply to the listing requirement. Director responsibilities set corporate objective, review and approve and guide corporate strategies and business plans, budget, and to monitor the implementations. Second, to oversee the management of company business and to ensure corporate performance. Third, to oversee human resources management, staff selections, and compensations, such as. Another responsibility of director is to develop and implement investor relation program to effectively communicate with shareholders, other stakeholders, and the public. Besides that, director responsibility to review the adequacy and integrity of the system employed by company, such as accounting system, financial reporting system, and internal control, besides to prescribe transactions that require board approval. As to conclusions, for corporate governance and external auditor, the auditor must first give a clear statement of responsibility in the audit report. Second, review directors in compliance with the Act. Last but not least, read the director's review, external controls, and assess whether it appropriately reflects the process carried out. For that, thank you and have a great day.